Two and a three, and we're live, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the F13 podcast with Brian and CliffyB. Hey, buddy.
I think I timed my caffeine intake perfectly this time.
This is our 13th episode of the F13 podcast. We might walk under a ladder later. We might fall off a bridge, break a mirror. Who knows?
Yeah, don't say that. I'm actually not that superstitious, but 13 on 13. Cool.
Yeah, I'm not, but I did wear my Jalen Brunson Knicks jersey for about 30 days straight during their win streak of the playoffs. So
was it like a hockey beard? Like, did you wash it at least?
Nope, didn't wash it. I don't wear it all day. I just wore it during the games.
Okay. I was gonna say, because I think I saw you during that time period, and I don't recall you having a stench.
I wore it at home during the game. So they only lost like one game, and I put it on after that game, and then they won. I think it was 12 in a row. So
okay, but it didn't wind up turning into like solid like chainmail where you just kind of like had your wife drop it over your head with your arms on, just shoom.
No mange. It was all good. No gangrene.
No
mange. It was fine. But it's just us today, everybody. I like doing this like once a month, just to kind of a palate cleanser to reset. We have so many topics we don't talk about with our guests.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were talking about this whole thing is like we love the people we get on the show, and it's always, I messaged Brian. I was like, Brian, like this whole podcast thing, it's touch and go. Like 1 minute, like we have somebody locked in, like the day before, they're like, I can't. PR people said I can't, or my wife's having a baby or something, like not important like that. And then Brian's like, well, welcome to having a podcast. And I was like, Jesus. And so at the end of the day, you and I, we vibe well, and we got plenty of stuff to talk about. And because we like our guests and we usually have interesting shit to talk about, we never get to talking about other shit. So today we have
other shit.
Exactly.
That's what we'll call this episode.
Brian, like, so we have this shared Google Doc that I renamed into the call sheet. The drama nerd in me. Still have those nightmares lately. We'll get to that. But boom, right here in bold, Brian just saw Spider-Man Brand New Day.
I still have popcorn in my teeth. I just got that like 30 minutes ago. I wasn't going to say it. Yeah, my wife took the kids to a dentist appointment, and I looked at the Alamo. I'm like, well, there's one playing like right now. Should I just go? And there were still tickets available. It wasn't like sold out at all.
Well, it's midday on Thursday, so I
know. Yeah, obviously, a bunch of losers who can go with no job. But it was good. It was good. I'll say it was good. It was good. It wasn't like crazy, like whoa. Nothing made me go whoa. There are a few like, oh, that's cool. Like, but nothing like. I'll give it like an 80 out of 100.
Okay, because the last, I've
7.5 out of 10.
Once every IP that I've ever had a vested interest, because I grew up with Spider-Man. I was never a spider nut. Like,
right.
My friend Tommy Tallarico did a video game music for a bazillion games.
Yeah, I know.
He did this whole like video game tour of his house where he showed that he had a Spider-Man room, like a room just dedicated to Spider-Man. I'm like, okay. I mean, I say this to somebody with a fucking Optimus Shrine downstairs, right? But it's one of those things like, when they start getting into the multiverse stuff, I start slowly, Homer Simpsoning into the bushes.
You know what was nice what Alamo does before the movie? They always show like fun stuff. So they did a very fun and entertaining, literally like a 10 or 15 minute recap since Spider-Man 1 from 2002. And they did like a very funny, like all the way through.
Well, I mean, you're assuming, Brian, you got to the theater with enough time to see that, and you don't have a wife that makes you perpetually late. Boom! New time to throw in Lauren under the bus.
No, last week was 20 seconds. So this is almost 4 minutes. So
I made it 4 minutes.
Yeah,
I think this is going to become a thing, by the way. She's just going to this is going to come up in my therapy and marital therapy, and she's totally going to leave me for it.
Your F13 button is to whoosh, have Lauren ready at the push of a button. When you guys go out.
Oh, dude, you see, if you could have heard, because for those of you who don't know, the great people at Beacon hooked me up with this spiffy microphone. Yeah, and I I couldn't help it. It was just so sexy. And but the setup for it is quite the process because it has all these mixers and all this crazy stuff, which this PC is old. I'm not throwing Beacon under the bus. I'm throwing the fact that our PC here that I use for just podcasting is fucking ancient. And so getting it, you know, from USB to USB-C and all the software involved and everything like that was just a huge pain. And I'm a fucking Luddite, so I didn't enlist her. And she's live streaming, you know, Counter-Strike in premiere mode. And if she doesn't play this match, her rank will go down. She'll be reported. And she's over here fritzing, freaking out, right? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, God, it worked yesterday. What the hell? And I'm doing the whole, like, you know, can you hear me, Brian? And then he's like, no. And I'm like, can you, like, that whole thing, right? Like, you know, but yeah, so Spider-Man, you know, he has like Mary Jane and his that really funny chonky kid that he's friends with.
Yeah, so basically, yes, Ned. So basically, Doctor Strange had to wipe the entire world's memory of Spider-Man from like in the last movie, and now he's, you know, this is a couple years later, and like, you know, stuff happened. It was good. It was good. It was entertaining. It wasn't like bad, but I didn't think it was anything like holy shit, like Avengers. Like nothing crazy happened. Maybe, I mean, I don't want to spoil it. Go see it because it was good. But you know, if you're expecting like an end game type thing, you're not going to get that.
I mean,
you'll get a good movie,
a once a generation event, right? I mean, they built up to that, and I think they're trying to, like, you know, cut to the chase and really get to that with Doom showing up and everything. I think
Doom's going to be. I don't think they're going to mess that. I think it's going to be pretty awesome.
I hope not. I mean, you know, when it's a great superhero movie, you know, I enjoy it. Like, you know, we saw Supergirl. You know, I was like, that was solid. It wasn't like amazing.
Yeah, this was solid.
Yeah, but you know, now the expectations are, you know, through the roof. And I saw the numbers. Somebody broke it down, if you dare to be believed, that Spider-Man, I'm not sure. Again, I think Sony still owns half of it, or Marvel does. The back and forth, and every Spidey movie that's fairly well done just makes fucking bank.
So Sony gets custody of Spider-Man on the weekends, and Marvel gets it during the week. It's like that.
Seriously. But I mean, you know what? It's aspirational. You know, the whole, like, it always fits eventually. You know, anybody could be Spider-Man, which is, they did the same thing with the last No Time to Die movie, where anybody could be Bond. It's just a number. You see what we're gonna do in Act 3? It's coming. It's happening for you.
One of my favorite parts of the movie was a guy behind me was just every 15 minutes. Oh damn! Oh, what? Whoa! No way! And so I kept hearing him, and it wasn't like distracting. It was actually, he was whispering it, but it was just very funny. He was just like, "Oh damn!"
Well, see, I mean, that's like the good movie reactions, like the good movie talker. For those of you who don't know, the Alamo Drafthouse is pretty strict about the no talking, no texting stuff.
Barely anymore.
Yeah, the quality slid since they were acquired. And so
by Sony, right? By Sony.
I think it was Sony. Yeah. I used to get, like, you know, the chicken sandwich there. And now they just throw a couple fried chicken tenders on a sandwich and call it a fucking day. And now I just like, we're gonna go see a movie, hot dog time. And to be fair, it's not a bad hot dog, but it's pretty hard to fuck up a hot dog. We were there the other night. We saw the Olivia Wilde movie, The Invite, which was a roller coaster. It was
Seth Rogen. Right?
Yes. And like, oh yeah. The whole movie, like, he actually followed me on Twitter, and when he followed me, I heard that in my head. I was like, oh, okay. He's right behind me, isn't he? And you're a virgin, right? I remember seeing that first trailer for 4-Year-Old Virgin. Like, what is with that dude in his voice? He seems likable but annoying at the same time. And the thing is, I remember seeing the trailer. It's, you know, this married couple that's, you know, blah, 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 you know, they're fighting each other a lot. And then, you know, the wife decides to invite this couple from upstairs, Ed Norton and Penelope Cruz. Ed Norton's just, you know, this, hey, I'm Ed Norton, and how's it going? I'm a firefighter. Ooh, I'm a sexy guy. And like, are you? And then Penelope Cruz, who's just, you know, still has the beautiful accent, and she's just still beautiful. But the whole thing is, you know, it's revealed that the couple, spoiler, it's basically in the trailer, they're swingers. And so it's, you know, the invite's not really about the invite for dinner. It's about they're inviting them to, you know, freaky sex stuff. And it's not, everybody gloms onto, you know, the sex stuff, which is fine. It's obvious that, you know, Seth and Olivia's characters, you know, they have a strained sexual relationship, haven't fucked in like over a year, etc. But it's more about, you know, how a couple interacts and the day-to-day interactions, because the life and love and sex, I always equate to kindling, right? Can you tell I've been in therapy? You know, it's that little spark, that, you know, that little, you know, piece of straw that, you know, catches the newspaper, that then catches the little, you know, branches that then catches the logs and eventually burns half of Southern California down in a flaming fire of love, right? But I mean, it's the similar thing, you know, in those little interactions every moment, day to day with your significant other. How long have you been married now, dude?
2012, so 14. We just had 14 years, almost same as you, right? I think.
Yeah, we're literally about to have our 14th
in
30 days. That's like on August 4th, which my therapist recently told me is her birthday. So further proof we're in the Matrix. Anyway, the whole thing is it was a funny fucking movie. It was the classic, like, you know, a movie about adults. There's the old saying that, you know, American comedies about adults acting like children, French comedies about children acting like adults. And there's so much, as with good comedy, which we'll obviously talk about, you know, it's one of those where, you know, we're elbowing each other throughout the movie, like, that's you. Like, you know, she's like, can we just, Olivia Wilde's like, when Seth comes home, is like, can we just start over? Just go out the door and come back in and we'll start our night over. And Seth is like, did you get this from a podcast? And she's like, yes, I did, but that's not the point. Like, just little moments like that. And then she like bought this big, beautiful rug. And he's like, did you buy this? Like, what, you know, because this, you know, the whole like spouses spending money on shit we may not necessarily need. But then it turns out she bought it to impress the swinger couple that she didn't even know were swingers yet, but it was kind of alluded to because they were going to complain about how loud they were fucking upstairs, all this stuff. But it was, needless to say, my whole full story is just a lot of laughing in the theater. So it's a good old time for growing up.
I didn't know it was like a comedy. So that's good to know. I thought it looked more serious from part like the poster and some of the stuff I've seen. So that's good to know.
It does have it shares serious moments, but as with everything, it's like I laughed, I cried, I can't believe I ate the whole thing. Right. Okay. So that was a good one. I'd highly recommend it.
That sounds good. What do you want to get into next? You want to talk comedy since you just alluded to comedy?
I would like to. And quick side note, I know this is not going to be the case when this airs, but Brian and I are excited because we're doing another one of those retro bits tonight at the Flying Saucer. Again, this is going to be, you know, past tense, but it's just you know, he approached me the whole like Mystery Science Theater 3000 for, you know, old video games, often bad ones, but they were making the best that they could with the money they had at the time. Let's keep that in mind. But Brian sent me this for those of you who don't have my inbox on Instagram. Brian had sent me this video of this comedian who was very passionate. And I need to look. Godfrey.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you spell that?
God, Frey. Very funny dude. He's been doing it forever.
I used to know a guy from a podcast called that. But he's very passionate. I will look up his comedy. You know, now I'm like, I don't know who this guy is, but yeah, I guess he's a big deal. Cool. But he was on a separate podcast, and he was just talking about doing comedy for a living and how he had this, like, you know, this biz guy he was friends with from back in the day who did the whole like message him like, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? I'm thinking about doing that comedy thing. I've watched a few clips and videos. Maybe I could try my hand at it. And it really upset this Godfrey gentleman to the point he's like, motherfucker, like, you don't understand what it takes. You know, the whole, like, the joke about 10,000 hour overnight success, the whole, like, you know, playing, you know, the state fairs and the corporate gigs and laundromats, and the records crashed me. I was like, fucking laundromats.
I've done
like,
that.
Brian, have you ever done a laundromat, play a laundromat?
Yeah, I've done a lot of weird stuff. I've done I've done laundromats. I've done restaurants. I've done like outdoor in a patio of a coffee shop. I've done in a basement of somewhere. I've done everything you can think of. In New York, he has a million different venues of people trying to do stand-up. Done a lobby of somebody's hotel apartment. I saw someone's apartment like thing like that. Done everything. It's
it would be an interesting experiment. It's just one-on-one comedy. Like, you pay somebody to just come to your house and just do a set, and you just sit there.
I think
like with cognac.
I think Maria Bamford is one of the funniest comics there is. I think one of her specials, she just did it for her parents in their living room. That was like her actual special, which is just
that's like some Marina Abramovic kind of shit, right? But the whole thing, I was like, you know, because as those of you who listen know that I've tried open mic, like, I think it's 21 times now and failed. I always say like the majority, 90+% of the time. And I was like, Brian, are you sending this to me? Am I that friend? No. Like, hey, I made video games and I'm semi-retired. Maybe I'll make something whenever I want. I don't know. But hey, Brian, you do that comedy thing. Yeah. I may give it a go.
I thought you would think that, but it was only just to say, but hey, I know you like hearing about the philosophy of comedy and what other really good comics think about it. That's what it was more for that. But to see how everybody, no matter what level you're at, everybody gets that. Hey, I want to try comedy. I think I want to make a few bucks and do. I get that all the time with voiceover, and it's like incredibly. Like, I get it, but it's like super annoying. People are like, oh man, I need a few bucks. I want to do some voiceover to earn some money. I'm like, motherfucker, like this is my career and I could barely earn money doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
dude,
what do you mean you want to just make a few extra bucks doing my career? It's insulting. They don't know that it's insulting. Same thing as comedy. Like, they don't know that it's actually pretty insulting to say it to somebody. But I don't take it personal.
Maybe I'll make a video game and make a few bucks, and it's like, you have absolutely no fucking idea what
I got this idea for a game. Just gonna make it. Okay, good luck with that.
You know? Or can you make it for me? You know, my kid's good with the iPads. You know, like, okay, well, if your kid can't figure out an iPad, your kid is a complete total fucking idiot. But that so that reminds me, and again, I'm gonna throw a celebrity under the bus a little bit here, so bear with me. Back in the day, or about the Gears 3 time frame, the famous Victoria's Secret model Marissa Miller was a huge fan of Gears, and we actually did this skit. You can look it up on YouTube, called like the Perfect Date or something like that. I remember her. She's wonderful. Really, obviously beautiful, but really, really sweet.
Got a Jessica Simpson thing going on, sort of, in a way.
Yeah. So during Comic-Con, Microsoft had rented out this restaurant during the day that wasn't open in West Hollywood. And my guy, named Guy, who was my marketing executive, drove me all the way up there, and I did this skit with some of the Jake and Amir from, I think, College Humor. And it was totally obviously paid for. It got a decent amount of views, but it was cringe. You know, let's be honest, it was fucking cringe. The idea is I was sitting in the back of the sushi restaurant, and Jake or Amir like trying to be on a date with Marissa Miller, and she's like, "Is that Cliff Bleszinski, the Gears of War guy over there?" And it took her like 10 times to say my name properly. It's like, okay, take one, Bleszinski, Blowhardski, right? And then I come over and basically cock block him, and then like pick up Marissa Miller and walk out the restaurant. Ha 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 ha, so wacky. But she's a huge fan of the game, and she wanted to do some voiceovers for it. So her husband / manager, a guy named Griffin Guess, he was cool too. He sent over, like, send me over some samples, and she sent over some samples, and God bless the girl. It was just like, hey Marcus, let's go get those locusts. Smoke out. And it was just like, yeah, that's just not gonna happen. Right. And I was like, yeah, it just might not be a good fit at this time. And that was just, going back to what you were saying, like, it honestly, I'm gonna come back to porn in a second. Really, I've read so many articles about girls who are like, yeah, guys think this is their fantasy job, and like, nah, it's not. Half of them are like, snorting a Viagra in a kilo of coke before they do a scene, and then it's just, for me, like, video games were ruined for years because I'd learned how to make them. And so, if you're a porn person, and like, I just don't understand how VO and comedy haven't been ruined for you having doing them so long. I just pulled it back from porn, by the way. I
get it. I mean, there are a lot of comics who don't watch comedy, who don't watch specials, and I don't watch a lot of them. I do watch some that have people that I like, of course. Like, I think it's great when people have a special put out. I'm putting mine out soon, hopefully. But even that's stressful, just doing that, But yeah, without saying anybody's name or anything in particular, remember, like, okay, 2-3 weeks ago, someone asked you about VO for something, well-known person, and that almost, like, that response was kind of annoying to me, because they were just like, I can do crazy voices. Like, it's not about just anybody can do a voice, you know what I mean? But it's about, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's like, it was almost like a very annoying response from someone at that level too. I was just like, that's just weird that they would even say that. But I don't know. It's like, it is I don't know. I'm not crying about it, but it's it's a very casual insult to people who do things like this for a career, I think.
Yep.
And being a creative person or an artsy person, like VO and comedy, are very easy technically to get into. That's why everybody thinks they can do it. But as we know, not everybody can do it. So
I mean, it kind of ties back to that old saying about modern art, like you go to Jackson Pollock and it's like, well, I could do that. And it's like, yeah, but you didn't.
Yeah.
Right. So, you can just splatter paint in the wall. Yeah, but he did it. It's like that idiot that duct tape the banana to the fucking wall. And then I think it was like a crypto bro that bought it for $6 million and then ate it on camera, as like, which is the ultimate, like, let them eat cake moment of those douchebags. I put in like $1,000 in a crypto, by the way, a while ago, just for shits and giggles. And the last time I checked it, it was down to 100. And these people are allegedly making tens of hundreds of millions of dollars on this. And I'm like, what? Okay, I'll be over here with the S&P 500. Okay.
If only that guy choked on the banana, it would have been awesome. Like, that would have been the best outcome. If, like, take that, dickhead.
That would have been the ultimate, like, monkey's paw type of situation, right?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. So the thing about, comedy is for me, it's studying it and seeing how the sausage is made. And, we saw a comedian who I'm not going to name a couple weeks ago at Good Nights, who Brian and I, for those of you who don't know, like I'm like, Brian, somebody's going to say something about this next time I go to Good Nights, mark my words. And one of my pet peeves is when people insult the venue they're at. And he did the Shake Shack thing. He mentioned it multiple fucking times because those of you who don't know, our great local comedy club, who I'm VIP at, by the way, it's in the basement of a Shake Shack, technically.
But it's a beautiful new club. Like, it just happens to be underground. Like, you walk in and then you go downstairs. And it's got a beautiful bar, a beautiful main room, and a really awesome side room. But people I don't know.
Great staff, but it was when we went and saw James Austin Johnson a few weeks ago, the guy from SNL who does the amazing Trump impression. Very great people. He does that little gravel voice, everything. Like, it was halfway through his set and you could hear just and he was trying to get through the bit that he was doing, but like finally, like, as you could feel the room pulling back. Like, those are terms that I learned, by the way. And he's like, what the fuck is that? And then and of all people, because we're in the front row because they take care of us, Lauren, my shy wife, finally peeps up. She's like, Shake Shack upstairs closing.
Lauren says that. Wow.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Nobody was saying anything because he's a big deal. He's on SNL. And so
I think they're like moving the chairs or the tables to clean or something like that. But you can hear it from the showroom. It's crazy.
And so whenever we move a chair and we're like the airport restaurants and it drags in the floor, Lauren's like, why does it always sound like Chewbacca? Right. And but the thing is, they always like, well, my career would be going great if it wasn't in the small room in the basement of a Shake Shack. And I'm just like, oh. And then the Taco Bell joke came and I knew that was coming. And I was like, oh, it's like the most basic joke. It's like, yeah, no, it wasn't Taco Bell's fault. It was that farm in California.
It was Taylor Farm, which I just did a voiceover commercial for, where I played a talking pony. And
shut the fuck up!
I swear to God, that was like in April, and then this happened. So
you should redo it now, where you're just like with the sound effects in the background. It's like, Taylor.
Yeah, I hope it wasn't my fault. I hope my voice didn't make people have diarrhea. But yeah,
you're the typhoid Mary of voice acting. Yeah. Okay, but and so then Brian told me to watch Downey wrote that. We haven't really talked about that much. Do you want to explain it, because you made me watch it?
So it was on Peacock. Jim Downey is regarded as one of the best sketch writers ever, and this actually ties into the next thing I wrote, which is Humor Me, a podcast with Robert Smigel. So those two. So Jim Downey, for those who don't know, is the principal in Billy Madison towards the end that says we're all dumber for now listening to this. I hope that very famous iconic scene. That's Jim Downey, but he's like 75 now, maybe more, and he's been a writer for 50 years basically. So since the beginning of SNL, wrote for Letterman, still writes for SNL, does all this stuff. But it was a really cool documentary, and it shows all the stuff that he did and just how revered he is amongst pretty much every staff member ever.
But I mean, I grew up with SNL, and I've learned, by the way, ever since we had Mike Kaplan on, to not say I came up with SNL, because when he immediately was just like, boom, what do you mean you came up with? What are you saying? So exactly. What do you mean, you people, right? And so growing up with SNL with Phil Hartman and all of that, once you learn or know of this writer Downey, Jim Downey. And you realize, talking about colon blow and talking about these very practical things within practical solutions for that. Then it goes like that moment where oh my God. And they keep showing clips from so many of these famous skits that he'd written or even acted in to some extent. And it's just that it's cool to realize all these years later that DNA. But SNL, I will always love, it literally says in my memoir book, my writer partner was like, because I talked about growing up with this, going around to my family, the Billy Crystal, you look marvelous, my mom was like, oh, this kid's a little drama nerd, let's get this guy in front of a crowd. And the thing about SNL is, anytime you mention, and it's the same people that say I liked MTV when it had music videos on. Anytime you mention SNL to anybody, they'd always be like, I liked it when Will Ferrell was on it. They always mention, kind of like when we had Tom Bissell on our show, and Tom mentioned whenever you were liking that game when you were maybe at that formulative age of 18, 19, 22 or whatever, that's what it's frozen at, that happy moment in your life. And anything since that cannot hit that same dopamine receptor, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's very true. You have your favorite cast, and because it changes so much, everyone's got an opinion on what their favorite cast is. Every couple of years, it's going to be a different answer for that. But yeah, mine was like the Chris Farley, Mike Myers, Adam Sandler year. Yours is probably either that or right before. I would guess.
Yeah, I mean, Phil Hartman, Dana Carvey.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, right. That's when I started too. Yeah.
Victoria, I can't remember her name, and the blonde.
Victoria Jackson's crazy now.
No shit. Oh god, did she go full like Tila Tequila?
Yeah, pretty much. I think she went full MAGA. She's a complete nut job. I heard last, allegedly.
You either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain.
Yeah, and what I've been listening to lately, on my drives in the car is a podcast called Humor Me with Robert Smigel. Smigel is Triumph, the insult comic dog. For those,
for me to poop on.
Right, that's his most famous thing. But anybody that I know that worked at SNL or did stuff, they would always say the two things that I've heard the most was anytime Norm came into the room, everybody shut up because Norm's the funniest guy. No one's going to top whatever he says. And Robert Smigel is literally the funniest person alive. Like Smigel can just, the stuff he thinks of. And I've always been a huge fan of his, but he's got this podcast now where he has people call in and, or like ahead of time and, or like leave a message. Like basically they're trying to do something. Whether it's like, you know, this one person had like an a cappella group at Harvard, but they wanted to have some fun banter in between the songs, and they're not funny people. So what can we do? So Robert, and he had like Mikey Day and other, he's got Letterman as a guest and all these awesome people. They think of fun things to say in between the songs, or even like makeup songs, right? And it's and basically 90% of it is just them joking with each other. And then they'll eventually help their guests, but it's such a fun. It's like it's really being in the writer's room type of vibe in this show, and it's actually pretty cool to listen to.
But I mean, that sounds like it's just brilliant. Like Christopher Mill, it's kind of like sell me this pen, right? Like that kind of like almost improv. Like my wife and I, sometimes we'll just be bored. Like, you know, when they give you those Yonder pouches and you can't do shit because you can't be on your phone before like a comedy show or a concert or whatever.
Sure.
And we'll bring like a notepad once we know it's going to have the Yonders. And we'll do like, you know, Hangman or crosswords or whatever. And sometimes I'll just draw, or she'll draw a squiggle and I'll attempt to make a doodle out of it.
Oh, that's cool.
That's, you know, like a microcosm, the essence of like the creative process of that cool game of volleyball. We should do a whole setup on here, dude, where we have some random number that you can call and just say God knows what. And it could be completely like, I'm gonna murder your family kind of shit. Or it could just be like somebody farting for 30 seconds, right? Like it could be something interesting that would be like, well, that was very good feedback. Thank you.
If anybody knows a thing like that, let us know. We could definitely put that on the show. That'd be so fun. At my friend's wedding a couple years ago, they had this phone, like an actual rotary phone that you could pick up and leave a message for them, and they would like listen to it later. And they said a lot of people weren't using it, but me and my friend TJ, we kept going every 5 minutes. We just go back like, "Hey guys, just want to say," we just say like really dumb shit the whole time. And they said it was just very fun to listen to after the fact. But that'd be a fun thing.
I'm bummed that like not a lot of people did it because, you know,
I think it was like in the corner. People just didn't know, I think, about it. But
I would have put little plaques out. Like I would have said something on the mic about it. Like you put like, you know, like 2 beers in your average person. They'd be like, I just think you guys are beautiful. And he fucked the stripper the night before at his bachelor party, that kind of thing. Yeah. There's a good premise for a movie or a short. Speaking of shorts, this weekend, Brian sends me something that either makes me really interested or curious. Like, is he attacking me or angry? Have y'all heard about this HBO Shorts?
So basically, they're going to start doing basically whatever that thing was. Not what wasn't. It was a Quibi. What was that thing a couple years ago? Remember? They just did like 10-minute videos. It was like a 10-minute shows, and that's what this is. HBO is just going to have like shorts, like just the best parts of shows that you can just watch, which is apparently not YouTube. Which they're going to do their own. Like, can't you find literally anything you want on YouTube?
No, this literally is like Microsoft, and they came out with Zune. They're like, oh, the iPod. We need one. We need one of those, right?
Yeah.
You know, KLTS is what I call it. Kids love that shit. You know, like so.
This is WKLTS.
Or you can fix it and say kids love that stuff, right? But it's like the whole like, okay, like, you know, I hear the TikToks is big. You know, what is the kids on these days? But that time, and again, the niece being my lens for the world in which we live and showing her SNL skits is like, I saw some of this on TikTok. I saw some of that on TikTok, and it's just, you know, this shrinkification not the e-shitification, which is the whole other thing we should all Google, of the attention span. Like, and that, you know, should we like Brian, like hire somebody to just do like, you know, besides the clips you already do, like just to do like brief, like 15-second highlights of this shit that we do like here every week? Like,
I mean, I could do it, but yeah, we need someone to please volunteer to help us do that. We need a we need CliffyB. Yeah. So this person, oh yeah, so there we go. Chris, our friend, I like films. Just it's like CliffyB, which was a big failure. Correct. I think it lasted like a year. They probably gave away too much money they didn't have, and then all of a sudden they realized, oops, we're done.
But of course, Chris knew what that was because he knows everything about TV and film.
Yeah. Did I say Kibi or Quibi? I think I said the right name, but I remember it was a thing a couple years ago because comedy, it was trying to be a big thing for comedy, but it just failed. Like it didn't work.
I mean, that's basically the whole like version of like, oh, here's this new comedian, and then it shows him and he goes, wrecked him, I nearly killed him, and you're like,
still a great joke.
That's still
I just don't know like why
the aristocrats.
Yeah, like why waste their time on that though? Like we have YouTube, we have TikTok, unfortunately. Like everyone gets this stuff anyway. I see Veep clips all the time because I love Veep. I see Arrested Development clips all the time. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Those things pop up on my timeline constantly. Like we don't need this other thing. You know what I mean?
I think when you've already seen it is when it's cool. Like I want to go back and, you know, relive the Battle of the Bastards from Game of Thrones, right? That like that kind of stuff, right? But I mean, for people who haven't watched it, it just makes me nauseous. But I mean,
I just want to see all the late night HBO Cinemax clips from 2 a.m. I want to see just a mashup of all those softcore scenes.
Somebody should make a website just called scrambledboobs.com, and it's just like
perfect.
Or like a little mini game, like a friend swap thing, where like you're just sitting there and you're trying to find it. And once you're moving your mouse cursor, and the second you see, it's kind of like a catchba. You know, I did some security thing for some stuff the other day, and I had this mini thing where it's like you had to drag the right vial into the right container that would. I'm like, who the fuck came up with this one?
That'd be so funny if it could be like an after dark game show, and people be like, oh, that's Pamela Anderson. Yes, what movie though? You got to name the movie that she was scrambled in. Oh, that'd be such a fun thing
but if
do.
You can click the nipple though, like that, you have to click it within X seconds and know what frame it was too. Because I know we were all sitting there like,
yeah. Do you remember Win, Lose, or Draw? It was like the matching game. Then they would reveal part of the square. It was like a game show, and then at the end you have to put it. That's what it would be. You'd reveal part of the scrambled boob. And then
what would it be named? Like Tittionary? Oh, that's actually not bad.
Fuck, that's perfect.
That's why. Yeah, wait, CliffyB film stuff and split up into segments, thinking people's short attention spans would make them watch it. They're trying to get in the new vertical story boom on social. Of course they were, because I still hate vertical everything. But I mean, it just, again, it sounds just like the whole like Silicon Valley, like the TV show, like shitty startup name generator. Let's just call it Squibby, like, or you know, Queefton or something like that. Like, okay, dude. A Hulu, like
Queefy's a whole different app. I think Queefy's different.
They all just sound like something your dog, like when your dog is like, you know, something in their throat, just like Queefy, like Hulu, like. I mean, Netflix is like, boom, like, you know, I think it was Reed Hastings back in the day. He had a vision. He's like, it's going to be internet movies. And it's like, yeah, but you're taking discs and you're sending them to people's houses and then they're having them mail them back. Yeah, but give it time. And it worked.
Right. Shit, man. You had a fun thing earlier about meme culture that I think would be a fun topic, about this whole Jimothy thing, which is the inbred meth head raccoon that's been running around.
Oh, but he's so cute.
It's so cute, but it looks like he's got a little meth head raccoon to him.
What hump?
Yeah, right. Young Frankenstein. But it's
dude.
Give your soapbox rant on.
Well, this stems from, I was talking to some developer friends of and they're like, okay, we have this feature where we want to make your game meme ready. I'm like, I hear that memes are big with the kids, you know. Tell me about your idea, right? And they're like, I was like, you know, the shelf life like of memes now these days is like maybe a week, if you're lucky, if that. You know, like you go to Google Trends and all this, and like, you know, back in our day, and I posted about this in my public Facebook because it's, again, surprisingly positive. And it's just like, maybe it's because it's all old people who are mature. I don't know. But, you know, talking about like, you know, the whole like all your base or belong to us, you know, hamster dance, you know, the Numa Numa guy, the Star Wars kid, all that shit. That shit lasted, I think, for at least like a year, if not longer. But we all still remember them and talk about them to this day. Like, and people, Harambe, I think, was like the beginning of the end of that, where Harambe was still talking about
of the quick turnaround. You mean like quick turnaround memes, like where it's like that was only a thing for a couple days, then we're on to the next thing. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think the that was the first nail in the coffin, and I think the final nail in the coffin was the Hawk Tuh girl, right? And how every once in a while I'll just be like, whatever happened to that girl? And like she did that pull the rug, NFT scam or whatever, or crypto scam, whatever the fuck it was, and she just ran off, laughing at everybody. And that was one of the notes that I made, the jokes that I made, which didn't really land. Where I was like, everybody out here is doing open mic and is a struggling comedian. Does it not bother you that someone became really famous just for talking about spitting on a dick? And then you can see everybody around the room being like, "Yeah, your point."
We agree.
Like,
yeah. That's good comedy. We agree, sir. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, it just, and so their whole point was like, oh, if we could drop that in. I'm like, dude, because you see, like, once the corporations jump on it, like, Jimothy showed up in World of Warcraft and all the social media accounts from everybody. And usually the fast food ones, to be fair, are pretty entertaining because
it was on Google. If you Googled it, he ran across your screen right away. So they all did it. They all took it right away.
And what that's the ultimate, to full reference a meme. How do you do, fellow kids? And then, sooner or later, it's going to show up on your mom's or your uncle's Facebook. Like, have you seen this raccoon? Yeah, mom, I seen the raccoon. And that goes back to, kid slang. We were talking about, didn't your daughter at some point in the last few weeks say no cap to you?
She's been saying it for about a year. Yeah.
Still?
Yeah. Not,
I guess not up on it.
Not so much the last few weeks, or months, I would say, but she did say it a lot last year. Because school's over, it's the summertime. Maybe she forgot all the dumb shit that she was saying with all of her friends. But yeah, hopefully it's
the brain is sufficiently oozed out of her ear.
Right, it had to heal from being in school. Then, like in the summertime, it's like it becomes whole again.
The time when the family was here all visiting, and we all were doing the tour of all the local malls, because that's what you do with family. And I was like, you know what, you guys have all gotten some new clothes. I've spent way too much time in Sephora. Fuck it, I'm gonna get some new stuff at Nordstrom's. And, I put on got this nice new suit jacket, and I come out and the niece is like, that looks tough. I'm like, what? Should I start a fight with somebody now? And she's like, I'm like, that. Oh, that means it looks good. Okay.
I haven't heard tough yet.
Yeah, and then I'm like, okay, I'm feeling kind of tired. She's like, we should go to Starbucks and lock in. I'm like, what are we the last starfighter? Like, or am I doing a Peloton? Like, what the fuck? Which means just like, we're good.
What's the slang for blow my brains out? Is that a thing yet, kids?
That's full cap.
Full cap. Yeah.
Dude, it was so funny. We were listening to Ghetto Boys in the car today. My wife doesn't really listen to lyrics, but she's been getting a lot better, to throw Lauren under the bus again. And it was, damn, it feels good to be a gangster. I think the line was, you cock-sucking, pussy-eating gangsters or something like that. And she's like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, it was a different time. And the fact that they used that in Office Space was utterly fucking brilliant.
They nailed it, yeah. Scarface, one of the best rappers ever, by the way.
Now the funeral is over and all the tears have dried up. Oh, fucking great, man. Hey, so did you do GalaxyCon?
I went. I didn't do any panels. I went with our friend Chris. I went to the Edgar Wright.
I think I saw a photo. Yeah, and he got to meet. Did you get to meet Edgar Wright, or did you pay for it?
No, I went Saturday. Just not that I'm done with cons, but it was a lot. Like, I'm a big person. I can see over everybody, but sometimes I'm just standing there, not even moving, because nobody is moving. And I'm looking like, what is going on? What are we doing, folks? And like, every aisle is so tight. The artist alley is a nightmare to get through. There's no room. Even the main showroom floor. First of all, that convention center is awful to walk around, because it's like the one way in, one way out. It's really annoying. You got to go down the escalator or the stairs, and then you got to go down one more escalator. There's no steps to go. It's like it's really awful to get around. But it was fine. Like, I didn't get anything. Oh, no, sorry, I did. I'll show you tonight. I got a Ninja Turtle belt. I got myself a Ninja Turtle, which has like a seat belt from a car buckle, which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
But that's all I got. And I got a bunch of I got some signatures from like Transformers #1, G.I. Joe yearbook, like these comic books that I've had forever. Thundercats #1, He-Man. Those guys were there, the artists or illustrator, whatever. So I had them sign my comics for me, which is kind of cool.
That's cool. See, that's what it's all fucking about. See, here's a couple quick things, in my opinion, about cons. My wife and I didn't go because she pulled something in like her neck, and she's like, I don't want to go. And I'm sitting there going, fuck it, thank God. Danny Glover, I'm too old for that shit. the convention center is not big enough for what they're doing right now. And again, if you're a Raleigh person, they're expanding it. They're taking the Red Hat Amphitheater and going, boom, moving it next door. And they're putting a whole other section there. Good. The area is growing, as we all know. But the thing is convention goers, having done a bazillion as we both have, dude, they're the worst at fucking navigating on the planet. I mean, and it's exponentially worse the nerdier the con is, right? And I love my game developer brethren, but GDC was the fucking worst because even if a person means well, you know, I could be going from Moscone Hall west to south or whichever ones it was, I can't remember, and I'm trying to walk. I have like an appointment to get to, an interview, was whatever stuff it had going on that day, and I'm with Lauren, and then somebody, you know, stops me. Hey, what's up? How you been, man? And I'm like, oh, Lauren, this is John. We go way back. How far back? I think 15, 20 years. Yeah, how's the wife? What are you working on these days? I can't really say. Okay, Ubisoft really screwed you over, huh? Right, that kind of shit. And I'm like, gotta go. And then it's another, hey, it's like, who the fuck was that? I don't know, that kind of thing. And then, you know, when you add in all like the merch areas where people just, they don't pull over, just pull the fuck over. They they'll just stop and be like the person first time in Times Square, which Times Square is the only place in New York where you could or should do that. Like, wow, we're not in Kansas anymore. Like, hey, I get it. There's a giant cup noodles, whatever the fuck they call it. I think there's been one there in like 20 years. Anyway, but the whole thing is like, it's so frustrating, especially as you get older. And and the convention center is getting better, but the management at GalaxyCon, I still have a fucking bone to pick, because if you go to, and you like maybe even pay to meet a celeb on the show floor at San Diego Comic-Con, which they've been doing it for God knows how long, there's a person with a sign and there's a tape or a stanchion that says end of line. And if that line adjusts, they move. They don't block the doors, fire code, all that stuff. And it's done in an orderly fashion. And you get your time with the person. And it's sometimes they have an entire other section where other people are signing, where we did the signing for Scrapper and all that shit. People showed up with gear stuff, cool, sign whatever. I still have some stuff that people are mailing to me, by the way. And they often send it in these boxes that look like they've been rolled all the way from like East Europe to here. And I have to like add extra duct tape. I should charge you for the duct tape, people. But I wanted to meet Peter Cullen, who voices Optimus Prime, and just be like, thank you. You know, I know when you first signed up, it was, quote, just a truck, but you know, your work made an impact on an entire young generation. You know, and then, you know, when you died on camera, it just wrecked us. And then I lost my own fucking dad. And I had this epiphany the other day, like Peter Cullen's getting a bit older. And, you know, when he goes, it's going to be like a 1-2 punch from, you know, when my generation was, you know, really young to, you know, being adults now. And the guy who voiced this beloved character, and I don't even want to fucking think about it. But then, you know, I paid the extra money to like meet him or get a photo with him. And like in front of his area was just fucking bedlam. There's no rhyme, no reason. And I was just like, and like, you know, I'm like, fuck this. I'm too old for this. I'm just going to take my bitterness and walk away.
Your giant helmet.
Yeah, I was this close to bringing my damn Optimus Prime helmet, and I'm like, I'm glad I didn't fucking bring it, because, or maybe if I just like put it on and just like stood in the back like that, you know?
No.
I thought freedom was the right of all sentient beings, motherfucker.
The area where all the celebs are is a nightmare. It is so crowded and crazy, and just a mishmash of everything. So I barely even go over to that side.
Did you walk by where Carl Urban was?
Yeah, he was all the way in the corner, if you right when you walk into all the way to the right, like against that wall, by the wrestlers. You walk past the wrestlers, and then he was like straight ahead of them. I did get Cactus Jack Mick Foley to sign a WCW comic book that I had that he was on the cover of, which is kind of cool. That's cool. But he charged $60, which is a lot. But anyway,
I mean, I ran into Daphne Rubin Vega, who was in Rent, and it was one of those things that, you know, she played Mimi. And I loved Rent since I was like a teenager. And, you know, my friend Shauna, who's a, you know, Broadway star, is like pals with her. It's like, oh my God, you're friends with my friend Shauna, blah, blah, blah. And I've loved Rent, you know, and hey, let's get a photo together. And then she's like, yeah, that'll be $20. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, even the name dropping of my high school Broadway star friend wasn't enough, because, you know, she's got to eat. I get it.
They make some good money, these people doing that.
You know, I always said, if I'm at the point where I'm charging for photographs or signing shit, then I've done a poor job of managing our 401k.
Speaking of cons, a very good con coming up is the Gaming Geek Expo right here in Raleigh on September 5th and 6th. I'll be emceeing the whole weekend, which would be very fun, hosting a bunch of panels with wrestlers, with voice actors, all these people. And we are going to do a live episode of F13. at the con as well, which would be super fun.
Yeah, and I think Lauren's going to be judging the cosplay contest dressed up as Anya again. I was like, "Hon, maybe you should just do, your K-pop Demon Hunters,
She should outfit. Dress up as me."
she can't get like those cosplayers that get the stilts, just to look extra tall.
It's stilted a bald cap.
The bald cap, exactly. I'd be like, "Oh, I have such a confused boner right now."
Thank you. That'd be awesome.
But all right, so hey, can we get to the topic at hand?
Please.
I woke up today, had a doctor's thing, always fun. I had to be up at like 7:15. I'm like, that's one of the reasons I don't have kids. We came back, on the way back. Normally during the day, I'll get my cereal, and I'm like, fuck it, let's get an Egg McMuffin because those are still good. It's tiny bit, not completely unhealthy.
You don't get the McGriddle?
No. I just always like the Egg McMuffin.
I could eat a dozen McGriddles at once. They're so
really
good. I don't know how they. They're syrup, but they don't. It's not sticky. I don't know how they get the syrup on the muffin, like the bun.
I thought you swore undying loyalty to Cinnabon.
I'm open. I'm in an open relationship with all gross things.
That was the joke that made me fall in love with your comedy, Brian. By the way,
you always bring it up. Thank you.
No, that is, for those of you who don't know, again, being at the mall, I was like walking by, and every time I go by a Cinnabon or I smell it, I'm like, Brian. And I sent him a photo of it. It's like, hey, thinking of you. So yeah, where was I going with this? So I came back and I, had my McDonald's, and then I had my coffee. I was like, all right, let's fucking do this, Expedition 33, because I got to the final boss, or is it the final boss? I don't know. And it's Renoir, spoiler territory, people. The game's been out over a year and I'm late to the party. Yeah. I have shit to do. Okay. And, Renoir's the one all behind it. And get it. He's named Renoir. They're painters. So, it's a classic JRPG thing where it's like, the first half, I was like, this was almost a little bit too easy. Of course, boom, wave 2, fuck, dead. And then I'm like, all right. And then now I have to go through. And then by the time I got to, the third or fourth, seriously, the third or fourth, fifth time of the first wave, I was just kind of like, boom, parry, boom. Are we done yet? And then I started learning the patterns in the second part. And then it was the same thing with some of the earlier bosses in that game where I was down to like my reserve characters who were only at like level 43, 44. And I kind of blew them off because my mains were all like 60 because I like kept grinding in Lumiere to like get them up there against those big like sword looking motherfuckers. Yeah. And then I actually was at to my reserve guys. I'm like, and his health was like down there. And I think they did that thing where like they, the health is normal. And then when you get to the like last little smidge, they make it so it's like extra hard. Like, like what normally was 10,000 damage only takes like essentially 1,500 behind the scenes to make it seem harder. I'm like, fuck you. And so I finally finished him. And there's the fake, like, oh my God, he's going to unleash his true power. And then Mael, little, sword fighting girl just comes in. She's like, boom, not today, Satan. And then I was just like, yeah, and then the music's swelling, and because the music in that game is incredible.
It's the best ever. Yeah.
But it's not done yet. There was one final fight between what's his name, Verso and Mael. And you have to pick who to fight as, and that changes the ending. Blah blah blah, which actually kind of dovetails the opening where you're playing Gustav against Mael as the tutorial. So it's a really kind of cool book ending. And there's still figuring out why the paintress was painting this whole family of painters that could create their own reality with their powers. There's this whole faction of writers and everything like that. And it was one of those things like a good movie or a good book where I'm like, okay, I think I have a pretty good idea what the hell just went down, but to Google. And then I'm like watching recap videos and watching people beat this boss, by the way, who clearly did something far better than I did because they're like damaging him. It's like 100,000. I'm like in one hit.
I was never that. I never got my people to that level, but I've seen it. I'm like, how do you do that? Like I have no idea. But yeah.
Well, there's a lot of things. Oh, gone.
No, so you did beat it for good. You did finish it. You think?
Yes. I think it was close to 44 fucking hours later. I can't remember the last game I put that much time into. And somebody had posted on YouTube some comment along the line of like, I thought I was too old and getting too jaded. And then this game came along. I was like, no, it wasn't me. It was the games I was playing. And then I was telling this to friends, talking about what to play next. And they're like, I didn't get around to Baldur's Gate 3. Like, I've heard nothing but amazing things. They're like, yeah, no, that's another big old time sink. And one of the things that I loved about this is I've always like enjoyed the action RPG elements in games like this, where, the reaction time for parrying for some of these enemies was like 100 milliseconds. You had a boom, boom, and then they switch it up with the third one. And this time it's like, it's not just consistent boom, boom, boom. And then the first Oh, and then you're like, boom, boom, boom. Ah, fuck, right? Because if you parry, then the character has to do this wobble, like, whoa, I'm not ready yet. Now I'm ready. By then, you've already been murked. But the music was amazing. It looked great, but there's still the little things here and there where like there's this big dramatic scene, and Verso has that kind of classic old school like Renaissance coat on, and he's saying something very important. I'm paying attention to the story. The music is swelling, and I see his jacket like clipping through his leg, like blatantly, and I'm just like, oh, like, is this the game developer in me coming through? Like, I'm walking up this beautiful like area, like there's the hill and the mountains in the background, and I see as I get closer, the little weeds suddenly pop in. I'm like, level of detail spotted, Unreal Engine. I got your number right there. But
I can look past that stuff, but I would imagine for you, it's like you know what that is,
because the game. I mean, the end justifies the means, because the overall game was that fucking amazing that I was just like, yeah, whatever. That one thing clipped. I don't give a shit. It was just so goddamn good. I just love that it was like this handful of Ubisoft folks that were like, fuck you, Ubisoft, we gonna make our own game, and then boom, like game of the year up the wazoo, proving that you don't necessarily, sometimes you do, but you don't necessarily need teams of 500 plus people that you lay off, in increments. And some EA executive recently got a bonus of like 38 mil because the last Battlefield did pretty well. It's like, yeah, and that was all you, dude.
And they fired them all like on the same day he got the bonus or some bullshit like that. Like it was just the worst of the worst you could do.
I mean, that's business 101, and capitalism's great until it's not, because it's like our profits are up. We can maximize our profits by getting rid of all the people that helped us get those profits in the first place.
It's disgusting.
That's just, unfortunately, the way the fucking system works.
Yeah, no, that game was awesome. I don't play those games hardly ever, but I bought into the hype. I kept hearing I played it last year before even all the game of the year stuff. I just heard that was really good, and people kept telling me about it. So I was like, all right. So then I was like, it hooked me in like right away, because I just like this. I'm a big story person, so I liked the story. I knew it was going to be a good story, and it wasn't too like Final Fantasy-ish, which I don't like at all. And it was just incredible. Yeah, the music is out of this world how good it is. The parrying feels awesome. All that stuff. Yeah.
Did you dodge at all?
Maybe twice by accident. You
got those big Brian hands, right?
Yeah, I wanted to parry, and again, I played on easy mode, so it's way easier to parry, but it still is satisfying. It's still just as satisfying.
Yes, because he's a bitch.
I am a bitch. Yeah.
Did you like the Duke controller on the original Xbox because of your big man hands?
No, I thought it was too bulky and big and thick.
It was. It was like the size of a dinner plate.
Yeah,
it's fucking ridiculous. But yeah, the game was fucking amazing. So there's that.
I saw your post earlier. You should play Dispatch next.
That was awesome. So the full circle was my wife and I had dinner with she was here for GalaxyCon. Bindi Smalls, the cosplayer, and
one of our friend Bryle's one of her good friends.
Yeah. And her dude Sean, great guy, and I was talking about, of course, AI. And Bindi was telling me, like, there's a lot of concern in the cosplay community, because what a lot of these nefarious assholes are doing is they're taking images and ripping them from cosplayers and then replacing their faces or changing their skin tone or skin color or even their outfits, and using these, cosplayers who've worked their asses off for their whole and built their careers up on their socials and in-person meetings and built these amazing outfits. And these people are just scraping that and just, making their own accounts for this. And it goes back to, like, there were people that worked in the adult world that would just cobble together Frankenporn from images of all other porn and just put stuff together of people who never really existed. And it's a very similar technique that's happening in the cosplay. I somehow always equate it back to porn for some reason, but the whole thing is that's,
would you watch Frankenstein and Dracula getting it on?
I mean, not as much as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in April.
Come on, stop. Don't. Yeah, I mean, I've thought about it. Obviously.
So for those of you who didn't see my social post,
people are mad at you about that. People are like, I'm not your fan anymore. Like, all right, bye.
Expected better of you.
Yeah, like, well, really?
I've said the last 30 years. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so I'm members of this Facebook group called Cursed AI. If no matter what you say about AI, how much you might hate it, this is fucking comedy gold, because I swear a lot of them are just, comedians who have like a C dance or a grok set up, and they just make the funniest shit on there. I'd highly recommend joining it. And one of them popped up. For those of you who don't know, back to porn. There's this blonde girl named Piper Perry. She's about this big. I think she's like, at the time of they did this porn, she's like 22, but they made her look like she was like 16. She had like the pigtails and shit. And they hired these 4 like jacked big old brothers. And they stage a photo shoot before it. The dudes are all wearing just like these white shirts and these white boxers. And she's just sitting on the sofa, like, I think she even had braces at that point. And like, it's the whole, like, they made a million memes about it to the point where the meme had been boiled down to like, me versus like my bills in life, my student loans, my grocery bills, my gas bill, my rent. Right. And it's just Google like Piper Perry memes. It's actually pretty fucking funny, but to the point where they boiled it down to like the simplest version of like, four dark dots and one white dot. And like, the average internet denizen understands this, but full circle, somebody made a version of that, whereas the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles all looking lasciviously, is that the word, at April O'Neil leaning over the couch. And they looked like the ones from the movie were like that, you could see like the turtles.
The Michael Bay ones, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And April's just like still has the same like, vapid look that Piper Perry had. Like just legs folded on the sofa. Like, I wonder what's going to happen next. And so Brian, as we know from behind him, is a big Turtles fan. The first thing I thought is, I got to say this to Brian.
I'm just glad you didn't make it yourself. I'm glad you didn't sit there.
I mean, I don't have that kind of spare time these days.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah, it was a good time.
But yeah, I never got around to asking you, by the way, side note, because we're getting close to the witching hour.
Yes.
Because we have a call time tonight. Did you ever watch Baby Reindeer?
Yes.
I was curious your thoughts on it as somebody who's a comedian.
I think we really liked it because it was a true story. And then we watched some stuff after it about like that. And it was such a fucked up, insane story. But yeah, it was really good. And the actual guy that happened to was the main guy, right?
Yeah,
and he wrote it all about himself. And it was like, I thought it was crazy. He wanted to relive all that by acting in it too. But yeah, no, that was a very good show. Crazy.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, it's about this guy who's a comedian and about his days. I'm assuming he's became bigger ever since. Hence, he wound up with this whole show. And his early days, he's in like a pub. I think it was England or Ireland. I can't remember.
England, I think,
yeah. All of them over the pond look the same. And he's trying to do, a stand-up set at a pub, and all of the locals are like, "The fuck is this? Can we put football on?" And there's this one, woman there who's just laughing hysterically after every joke he makes, and he's like, "Okay." And then she kind of starts following him after his shows and things like that, and then she winds up essentially being his stalker and being obsessed with him, and you're just like, "Oh my god, this woman's fucking nuts." Yeah. And then by the end of it all, you wind up feeling empathy for her, and that's where the term "baby reindeer" actually wound up coming from. And there's a really, really good series for those of you who haven't seen it. It came out a few years ago, but it was just a great example of, fandom like kind of gone wrong and then understanding the reason how that could actually happen,
Yeah. No, I definitely enjoyed that. I like weird stuff like that. So it was cool. To piggyback on what you said, after you were done with Expedition 33, you Googled stuff that like, I actually talked to my Gemini, my phone. I'm like, hey, because there's no one around. I did it by myself. I'm like, can we talk about the ending of Expedition 33? And it's like, sure. What do you want to talk about? And I had like a 10-minute conversation with my AI because I had to like talk about it because it was so good. I'm like, so what exactly happened when I finished this game? Because sometimes I just don't even get the main point sometimes. But it was very funny that.
One of my very, very few criticisms of it, apart from the JRPG trope of like, you think we're done? Wait, there's more. It's like, fuck, because they did that fake out where like you beat the paintress and it was really hard. And then epilogue. And I'm like, we're about to go out to dinner. I'm like, okay, I'll just save here. And like, no, but wait, there's a whole other act. I'm like, fuck. And then it's like, now the world's fully open. And there's all these other side quests to learn. Mael has this other side quest you can go on. I'm reading, people's like FAQs about it. I'm like, okay, if you go north of the tower, there's another tower that'll help you. It's a really cool part that fleshes out the story. And I get to that dungeon and I go in it. And Verso's like, yeah, we shouldn't go in there yet. And you couldn't go. I'm like, what the fuck? Like somebody on the facts said I could go in here. Like, I'll try. At least let me go in there and get my ass whooped. And I'll, like when, the lady of the brush haired guys, I can't remember the name right now, I challenged you to the fight and like in one shot at you. I was like, yeah, no, I'm not. That's an optional fight. I'm not going to do it. And there's a character named Simon that apparently you can fight that completely destroys you. And I'm like, I'm at the point where I put 40 hours into this. I kind of want to know how it all ends. And I don't want to lower the goddamn difficulty like certain people do.
Sorry. See, that's my problem. I plowed through a story and I hardly do side quests. Like God of War, I have no idea about the side quests. Last of Us doesn't really have many. Assassin's Creed turned me off of the whole series because 80% of that game is just side quests. And I'm just like, I just want to beat, like with God of War Ragnarok, I barely did anything extra. I hardly did anything extra for Expedition 33. I just did the whole story. If there was something on the way, like close by, I would veer off and do it. But for the most part, I am blinders on and I just focus on the story. So I probably only put in like 20 hours in that game. And I know people did like 40, 50, 80. I'm like, I missed so much of that game because I was so hell bent on just finishing the story.
I mean, with side quests, it's like that was the problem with Skyrim for Lauren and I. Like, you know, we lost track of where the main, because we had so many like wait, what was the main fucking quest? I don't. And then I'm like, fuck it, let's go over here to Whiterun again, like, and see what happens.
I just for the 100th time got back because I was in like a funk of I didn't know what to play. I finally beat Power Wash Simulator, all the things. It's not I say beat, but it's just like, you know. But I just reinstalled Red Dead 2, honestly, for like the 7th time probably. And like I had my save. I'm almost done. I'm like, I think I'm in the last chapter, but that game it was such a slog for me to really get through. Like the first Red Dead, not Revolver, but Red Dead Redemption I thought was a top 10 game of all time. But the second one, it was like almost too much nothing going on in between stuff, and it kind of turned me off. But
everybody gushed about it, dude.
I know, and I know it's good. I know I'm in the minority. Like I don't like Zelda either. I don't like Breath of the Wild. You know, that's me. But like I'm trying to really finish. I think I'm pretty close to being done. I want to try and finish Red Dead 2 finally. People are gonna hate me.
I couldn't get into Breath of the Wild because of the weapon degradation.
I hate that.
But yeah, so you know, probably gonna do Baldur's Gate 3. I tweeted like what I should like Dispatch. That's the one that you know,
very fun.
Bindy's other half recommended to me, said it was great. That's apparently that's a pretty small bite size, but very well written, very fun experience.
Very fun, very well written, and it's only broken down into like 8 1-hour chapters, so you can really plow through that. And it's very good.
Before I because I might go back to Cyberpunk because I never really got deep into that because I just that whole like action RPG thing, man. Like, you got any more of that right now? You know, and I couldn't really get into the original Mass Effect, but that whole trilogy is based on action RPG elements. And I had famously gone on the record many years ago and said the future of shooters is RPGs because, you know, you can't just have a paper thin shooter like a UT or a Quake. That was one of my mistakes I made when I tried with Boss Key. It's like people want depth. And that's what keeps them coming back. And meanwhile, whatever friend slop that Lauren ropes me into playing. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, there's a good game coming out next week called The Big Walk or something like that. It's free on PS Plus, but it's coming out for everything. And it's supposed to be like that's the next like it's cross-platform. We should all play it. I think you just walk around with your friends and just do weird shit, which sounds perfect for for Twitch and fun stuff. But I'll double check the name. I think it's called The Big Walk.
I will Google that right when I'm done. And let's talk offline about possibly, you know, getting somebody to do some clips for us because I'm willing to throw a little money at the issue, which Lauren's
out there, folks.
Doing. Yeah. If you want to, you know, what's our we have an email apparently.
Yeah, it is. Hold on, do I even have it? No, I don't have it here. It's f13pod@gmail.com.
Yeah. So drop us a line if you want to maybe volunteer for that, or, you know, send us photos of your shoes. Eventually maybe get around to that, doing the whole phone thing, because it's just a shame nothing happened at that wedding. But
that would be, well, stuff happens. I think I just overused it more than everybody else, possibly.
You never.
I might have drowned everybody else's comments, but yeah.
I would have made up a character like, you know, I'm trapped at this gas station on Route 66. There's these mafia characters that are after me. They slash my tires. Please send heroin, like something like that.
It was definitely a fun idea for a little party favor, you know.
Cool. Well, we got to gear up for tonight.
We got a retro bits. Thanks for listening, folks. We got people joining us on Twitch. We got over 5 people right now, which is awesome. I didn't even tell anybody, but we just went on. So so next week we might have a guest. We may not. Who the fuck knows? Stop hounding us, everybody. We're trying. All right.
Yeah, one time we just need to have a random person on, just like a random friend. Like, hey, what's up, Fred? Yeah, how's it going, man?
That'd be cool.
But yeah, you know, it's you know, we're still pinging other people, and we'll see who lands. And Brian, I don't think I've ever asked you about your F13 button. What would yours do?
It's a really good one. If I had an F13 button and I could push it and anything would happen, I would want to. This is very like in the now. I'd want my back to stop hurting, just because I'm tall. Like if I just push a button, that feels good. And even only lasts like an hour, that'd be great. Like I just need a little comfort every now and then. That would be
fair enough. You know, that's how you wind up on opiates, Brian.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna lay down the rest of my life, I think.
Yeah.
What about yours?
Mine, my F-13. God, I think I'm better for every mistake I've made throughout my life. But if I could go back in time and whisper in my ear with my first wife, "Don't marry her," or get a prenup.
Wow, is she listening? I hope she's listening. I'm gonna.
I hope she is. Yeah. So, but yeah. Hey, cool. Good times as always, buddy.
Folks, thanks for listening. Join us next week where we're on the F-13 podcast. Talk to you then, everybody. Bye bye. Wee wee.